Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to today's panel discussion, Empowering Global Growth, Unlocking the Potential of Female Entrepreneurship Through Incubator and Accelerator Partnerships. I'm Shelli Brunswick, the CEO and founder of SB Global LLC and the president of the WBAF Global Women Leaders Committee, Incubator and Accelerator Partnership Subcommittee. We're here today to explore the vital role that incubators and accelerators play in supporting female entrepreneurs around the globe. By fostering strategic partnerships and providing resources, we can break down barriers and unlock new opportunities for women-led startups. I'm thrilled to be moderating this esteemed panel of global leaders who are dedicated to this mission. I'd like to introduce Lucy Chow, the Secretary General of the WBAF Global Women Leaders Committee, who will share her opening remarks and set the tone for today's discussion. Lucy, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Shelli. On behalf of the Global Women Leaders Executive Council, it is a true pleasure to welcome all of you today. And as Secretary General of this committee, I have the privilege of working with an amazing contingent of women and male leaders from around the world. Specifically, we have 4 action committees, and I'm thrilled that you're going to hear, and you've already heard from one, and meet 3 out of 4 of the presidents of these committees. So let me just quickly go over the goals of each of the committees, if I can. So global fundraising stage. And the president of this committee is Miriam Kone. And her focus is on inviting and nominating female-led startups from around the world to join the global fundraising stage. We hold this usually twice a year. So for example, in our upcoming WBF Global Congress in Bahrain, there will be a global fundraising stage. Outstanding Female Leaders Competition. And the president of this is Deborah Walliser. This committee is responsible for designing and promoting an online contest to shine a spotlight on women-owned and women-led businesses. And I know Deborah is well on her way to moving this ahead. Gender equality and technology. The president is Isabel Velarde. This committee focuses on identifying and engaging key stakeholders within Latin America, and specifically the technology sector and broader ecosystem, who can support a mentoring program. So this is just one of the many initiatives being moved forward by Isabel and her team. Incubators and Accelerators Partnership. The president is, of course, Shelli Brunswick. I will let Shelli elaborate shortly on the work of her committee. And as a matter of fact, today's entire webinar is a testament to her work and her committee's work and to the vital importance of moving ahead and advancing women's entrepreneurship. So this brings me to, I'm so pleased to be part of the bright minds that have gathered here today to agree to share their knowledge in this webinar. And I just wanted to give you just a few quick, like 40,000 feet view of why an accelerator incubator can provide women entrepreneurs with a wealth of resources. These are just points. So the opportunity to network with like-minded individuals, access to mentors and advisors, the opportunity to pitch their businesses to investors, access to workspace and office space, access to funding and investment opportunities, access to educational resources and workshops, the opportunity to build credibility for their businesses. So this is far from an exhaustive list, and I know the speakers will discuss a lot more of this in depth, but essentially I want to focus, if I may, in the next few minutes on specifically the importance of diversity and inclusion in entrepreneurship. And I want to highlight a few of these benefits when we put on a diverse lens, driving innovation. So diversity in entrepreneurship brings together individuals with different insights and ideas and problem-solving approaches. Diverse teams can challenge the status quo. And this, of course, leads to more innovative services and products that cater to a broader range of consumers. In research studies, when diverse groups of people who have different backgrounds, experiences, and perspectives consistently generate more innovative solutions than homogeneous groups. So again, embracing diversity unlocks a huge amount of potential for innovative product services and approaches. Networking and mentorship opportunities. Entrepreneurs, rely on collaboration and building a strong network of contacts, right? And so this can be done through educational institutes, especially business schools, colleges. They facilitate connections with professors, fellow students, alumni, and industry experts who have real-world entrepreneurial experience. Students get the chance to interact with them personally to discuss and access the required guidance. These connections are valuable when seeking advice, partnerships, or funding for a new venture. Empowering underrepresented entrepreneurs. So underrepresented entrepreneurs include women, minorities, individuals from marginalized communities. When we empower these entrepreneurs, not only do we enhance economic growth, but this also fosters a more inclusive entrepreneurial ecosystem. And what about expanding our market reach? A diverse workforce allows businesses to understand and connect with a broader customer base. So when companies reflect the diversity of their target audience, companies can create products and marketing strategies that resonate with diverse consumers, obviously then leading to increased market reach and loyalty. And interestingly, and I'm sure many of you have heard this, the financial performance of companies prioritizing diversity and inclusion consistently outperforms their peers. So financial returns are strongly correlated with diverse executive boards, for instance. And then in the context of our conversation today, we really see value in mixed founding teams. Enhanced problem-solving abilities. Inclusion in entrepreneurship encourages collaboration, a sense of belonging amongst team members. When individuals feel valued and respected, they're more likely to contribute their unique skills and perspectives, leading to better problem solving and decision making. What about creativity and adaptability? Inclusive environments foster creativity and adaptability. Entrepreneurs who embrace diverse ideas and perspectives can respond more effectively to market changes and challenges. Here's a very important one: attracting top talent. A commitment to diversity and inclusion enhances a company's reputation, therefore making it more attractive to top performers. Talented individuals usually seek inclusive workplaces where they can thrive and contribute meaningfully. That's very important. Mitigating unconscious bias. When we mitigate unconscious bias, this helps in decision-making processes. Diverse voices are heard and valued, and therefore the risk of biased judgments is reduced, leading to fairer outcomes for all. Building a stronger entrepreneurial ecosystem. A diverse and inclusive entrepreneurial ecosystem fosters collaboration, mentorship, and support amongst entrepreneurs from all backgrounds. This interconnectedness strengthens the overall entrepreneurial community and promotes collective growth. Here's one of my favorites: contributing to social impact. Entrepreneurship has the power to really drive social change. By prioritizing diversity and inclusion, entrepreneurs can build businesses and actively address social and environmental challenges, making a real positive difference in the world. And what about benefits to the tech sector? Study after study has shown that diverse teams are more innovative, perform better, and are better equipped to adapt to an ever-changing business landscape. And in the tech sector, diverse teams are more adept at understanding and catering to the needs of diverse user bases. This leads to more inclusive and user-friendly products and services. In conclusion, the importance of diversity and inclusion in entrepreneurship cannot be overstated. Embracing diversity leads to a greater innovation, creativity, and adaptability within businesses, whilst inclusion empowers individuals to contribute their unique skills and perspectives. So by creating a supportive and inclusive system, we can empower underrepresented entrepreneurs and drive positive social impact. So I want to leave you with this one thought. We all have a responsibility to champion diversity, not just within the walls of our own institutions, but in the wider entrepreneurial community. Only by working together to build a more equitable and inclusive future will entrepreneurship contribute to and continue to be a powerful force for positive change and innovation. Thank you again, Shelli, for your efforts in coordinating and bringing together this esteemed panel of speakers from around the world. Enjoy the session, everyone. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Lucy, for those insightful remarks. Now, let me give you a brief overview of the Incubator and Accelerator Partnership Subcommittee's vision, mission, and goals. Our primary focus is creating a global network supporting female entrepreneurship through incubation, acceleration, and investment opportunities. We believe that by working together and fostering cross-border partnerships, we can drive innovation and enable women-led startups to thrive internationally. Now let's begin with our panel presentations. Each of our panelists will have 5 to 7 minutes to share their insights on how incubator and accelerated partnerships can empower female entrepreneurs. First, I'd like to start with Dr. Sharif Akbar. Sharif is with ISESCO, the Islamic World Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, and he'll share insights on how ISESCO's work is accelerating female entrepreneurs through their incubator and accelerator programs. Dr. Sharif, over to you. Oh, Sharif, you're muted. If you could
Yes, yes, I
unmute.
was confident. I first said thank you very much, Ms. Shelli Brunswick, and I welcome all the panelists, and it is a pleasure and an honor always being with you in different at different forums, and then to share our insights. I am Muhammad Sharif, as Ms. Shelli Brunswick mentioned, and I'm an advisor and director at Science and Environment at ISESCO. So just a brief introduction about ISESCO. ISESCO is Islamic World Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. We have the 54 member countries around the 4 regions of the world. We are headquartered in Rabat, Morocco. As this committee is having very important the topic today, the incubators, and I'm supposed to give you the some insights what we are doing in this direction. ISESCO actually started this program. We call it ISESCO Accelerator Program, and with somehow directly and indirectly, it is also really, I mean, connected with the WBF, as we have the MOU and some programs which are going on already in our member countries from the WBF, the platform also. We started this program like in 2021, right after the COVID, with this the mission and objective to support the capacity building and skill set acquisition, particularly as Lucy mentioned, there's underrepresented for the underrepresented people. So far, our member countries. This program was to support the young generation, young youth in member countries, particularly the women. And we are trying to support the youth to have their own startups and entrepreneurship, starting from the awareness. Our main focus from the start has been that there should be the creation of the awareness, so that what is important and how this should be done. I just would like to share one slide, if you allow me. Otherwise, I can go like this. Yeah. Can you?
Absolutely. Let me do that for you. Give me one moment.
Yeah, sure.
All right. You should be able to share your slide.
Now I do. So let me just share with you here. Now, do you see my slide? Yeah.
Yes, we do. Thank you so
Just,
much.
yeah, thank you very much. So at initially we had the 5 verticals, but later on when we went through the countries, we saw that that there are more verticals we should include. And now we are going without the verticals, and we see that if the countries they have the capacities in one specific field, so we let it to be done by our national leads. This program, and I mean, this is the old number. Now we have done it to 28 countries. We started it from the Kazakhstan and then Azerbaijan in 2021, and in the second edition, this program was extended to 10 more countries like Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan. I mean, mostly the Central Asian and Asian states. And the global competition we organized at our headquarters. So we always combine this program with the International Entrepreneurship Summit and the global final. Through this, at this global final, we bring the people from the around 10 countries who had already been nationally pitched to present their ideas. If you see on the right side of the slide that how many applications in 2021 and then in 2022 and then 2023 is gradually increasing. We have the different steps for this program. First is the getting started with our national leads. We always have the national leads in the different countries, and through these national leads and national commissions, we work. We hold the boot camps, 2 to 3 days the boot camp, and then as in intensive coaching, and then we have the national pitch fest, and then we also support this nationally the winners to the global final. The Shelli was at the first. She was here with us in Rabat. And during this International Entrepreneurship Summit and the start of the grand final, we provide the up to like $35,000, $30 to $35,000, the investment or the award or the prizes. And then also we expose these young entrepreneurs to the investors. We have the tailored the syllabus for this, and then it goes to the orientation, ideation, customer development and market research, team building, the planning, and then the pitching and fundraising, bringing them to the business models with the costs, and then branding and market. The second the global final we just finished in June in Azerbaijan, where it is really very interesting to mention that there were five the startups and entrepreneurship. They came up with very exciting ideas, and they were also provided with a heavy amount of the investments. And then we also send through this program the young entrepreneurs, particularly women, I would like to say that to international investor connects, the forums. For example, we sent some from 3 countries, the national winners to Kazan forum this year. And then the girl from Turkey, she got $100,000 investment. So it was not actually the fundraising stage or the investment the forum, but there was one of the investors were there, and then so he said that okay, I'm gonna invest $100,000 in this particular the startup. And then like 3 weeks after, she got $400,000 investment from Turkey. Yeah, so now I mean she's having the good startup. Similarly, there was one from Tajikistan. So it is called the Reskill. This project is about to empower the individuals to acquire the coding and the digital skills. So got also like $50,000 the investment. And then therefore the COP29, the partners were there. They also extended some support to the investors. So to the young entrepreneurs. So this is I mean the few the words about this program, what we are doing at ICESCO. We have just finished our the third editions. I mean, towards the third edition, the first two the entrepreneurship boot camps in Gabon last month. And the last week we just finished in a Comoros. Now we have already the 8 national leads, already agreements made to do in Gambia, Uganda, Sierra Leone, Cameroon, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. So this is in the next 3 to 4 months, and then we will be taking the 3 teams from each country to the Investors Connect, uh, which is to be held in Pakistan on February 4, 2025. Then they will be exposed to the investors, and also this will be the global, the final and then third entrepreneurship, the summit. Um, I'm taking the opportunity of this meeting. I would also extend the invitation to all of you. We will provide you the 5-star, the hotel accommodation, local hospitality as a full board on February 4th, to witness this investors connect, where we have also over the prize money for this program, and then each the winner will get the individually $35,000, the investment from the government of the Pakistan and Higher Education Commission of Pakistan. So this is a program what we are trying to run in our countries. Our objective or the mission is that by the end of 2025 we have a one round in our the member countries. So 28 we have done so far, and then we are planning to do 14 to 15 the countries more. In figures, if I can tell you that our target is to bring this awareness up to 5,000, the young women and girls in the 54 member countries. And through this program, and today we have trained 1,200 plus the young women and girls, and then the boys also through this program. So target is 5,000. We see that how we would reach this target. And then in the second round, we have also allocated the budget for the fundraising stage. And at the fundraising, we will also will be contributing to the investment if the young entrepreneurs, they need like up to 50,000, 30 to $50,000. So the 50% at ISESCO will be contributing to that endeavor. Yeah, that's about our program. And uh, one thing I want to also mention, that we have not done so far this program intentionally in the Gulf region. We wanted to do this program first in impoverished the countries, or the underprivileged ones. So we have done in like mostly in African countries, and now we are in consultation with with Sharjah, the investment forum, which is also going to be held in February 2025, and also with the Qatar Foundation and with the UNIDO in Bahrain. So because these are the countries where, I mean, they're well established and they have also the funding. So our objective or the idea behind this is that now the people who have already been trained and got awareness about this program and have the ideas, or they have the intention to start their businesses, we will be taking them to the Gulf so that they can represent their ideas, their intention to the startups, and then they can have some funding and they can have some the resources. So this is our way of the resources, the management, and also to bring the extra budget to this program. Thank you very much for giving the opportunity to present this our little effort towards this. And I would like to mention that there is a great support and help from the Shelli Brunswick, not only for this entrepreneurship program. ISESCO also started the aerospace symposium and the CANSAT model satellite training workshop, where we have also done the three editions in Morocco, in Gabon, in Burkina Faso, and in Turkey. And then next, in the first half of the next year, we have planned to in Kazakhstan, Gabon, and Turkey again. Where we again bring the people who are very much interested in the space science applications or the space science the fields to we give them the this awareness and also training, hands-on training. So through our international trainer, so the Shelli Brunswick actually was the main the driver behind this initiative, and now this initiative has also the grown. And I say thank you very much. Even I mean we brought like 500 the participants last year in Baku in International Astronautical Congress. So these were the all the young women and girls. They were from mostly they were from Africa. Uh, so we are really looking forward towards the further the collaboration and also further enhance to enhance this program. Very last thing I would like to tell that when I was doing this demographic or the statistics for this program, so it is worth to mention that through this program, 30% this beneficiaries were the women, and then the women, and then the girls. Thank you very much, Ms. Shelli Brunswick, and also all the panelists for for the patience to hear me. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Dr. Sharif. It's always a pleasure to collaborate, and I stand ready to support you in all your programs and initiatives. We do have a couple questions that came in for you during your talk. The first one was for individuals that would like to participate in your programs. What
Mhm.
is the process for these individuals to reach out to make sure they can apply for your programs in those countries that you said you're going to be doing programs in the near future? I heard you say Thailand, Malaysia. How do they reach out to you or ISESCO or their country representative to apply to get into the accelerator program? So I'll stop at that first question.
Yes, thank you. This is very easy. Our program uh, is very easy. We in each country where we do this program, we have the national leads and the national commission. The national commission is under the Ministry of Education or the Culture, so they are the facilitators. And then we find out some the incubator, the well-known incubator, on the recommendation of our national commission, and then this the national leads take care of the applications. There is announcement of the applications. For example, now in Gambia, Uganda, and Sierra Leone, we have the different partners also. So, but one national lead will take care of this. So, for example, now this in Uganda, it will be in two different cities, and they are at the distance from each other. So if the student or the young, the entrepreneurs, the participants, they are in the same city, so it is always 4 to 6 weeks, the extensive, the program, so they can be in person. We also make it sure that if the ones who cannot the participate in person, they can be in the virtual mode, they can take part. And but on the boot camp and the national pitching they should be present there, but this also we arrange. So these applications are open through our national leads, and then they should just apply there. And then on the boot camp, they are the selected as per their ideas. And this is we are not a part. We don't or we are not a part of the decision. This is the local jury, the international jury. So you are the part of that, and you know that. Then you see that which are the ideas and which are the participants who will be given then 4 to 6 weeks this extensive the coaching. So this is easy through the national lead. Sorry, it was a I mean the long answer, the long response, but I
That's
think
that's
this
a
was the
wonderful answer, and I think that really helps the individuals listening who want to apply for the program. The other question that came in was if investors want to join you in awarding investment opportunities or angel investment, do they reach out to you personally, or how would they contact you or ISESCO to be part of this event, to be part of, awarding funding?
That is very important question, and that is also the way of our interest. And I would say that, yeah, very honestly and then straightforwardly speaking about it. If there's someone is interested, there's an investor. So we are very flexible, and we can sometimes create the event. For example, so they can. The first thing is that yes, they should the contact us, or if they are interested, yeah, I mean, you can connect me to them and I can reach them. That is not the problem. And then we can invite them on the global final. And then this is a one way that they cannot be on the global final when we do. For example, the next one we are planning to do in either in Bahrain or in Pakistan. So they can be they can be there. We can invite them. We can also provide them the local hospitality and everything. And then they can be the part of that investment. Or if they are more interested, we have this the startup profile now. So from the each country, the first three the pictures, we have the profiles for all these countries. Now from 30 countries, 28 countries is around 130 the profiles we have in different fields, so they can be they can contact us, we can share with them, and if they would like to have this one event to bring this all 130 to in person or virtually to present their ideas for the investment, so it or for the co-investment, that would be no problem. Yeah, we will be uh, I mean available. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Dr. Sharif. I think that was really insightful for not only our panelists, but as well as individuals listening, how they can participate both as entrepreneurs. And your programs, I just want to highlight, are open to men and women. But the goal of our committee is to make sure women are included. So congratulations to you and ISESCO for an amazing program. And we look forward to continuing our partnership. And you know that you personally have my pledge to support you in any way possible. Excellent. Well, next, what I'd like to do is we will have Maliga Subramanian, who will speak on the importance of encouraging women to become angel investors and share her initiatives in the ASEAN region. So, Maliga, over to you for your great insights.
Hi, thanks, Shelli Brunswick. Thank you so much. It's really an honor to be here amongst such giants. I don't have an elaborate story like Dr. Sharif. How I've gotten into the incubator and accelerator was by chance. I've been in the entrepreneurial journey. I'm a serial entrepreneur myself, and going into startups and accelerators was an amazing journey, which I started last year, not far off. And it has been, an exciting journey so far. The whole idea of going into accelerator is basically bringing cross-border acceleration. And we worked on the ASEAN market and we worked on the India market, and how can we bring these startups to enter into the ASEAN market, and basically positioning Malaysia as the accelerator hub for these startups to expand into the ASEAN market. So that's how we got into it. And we did a big event last year in Malaysia, and we had almost about 400 participants from the ASEAN region. We had, almost about close to 100 startups from India who came and showcased, plus pitched for funding as well. So there were a few of them was funded during that entire event. And what I saw was also what triggered to really work with women, and maybe, looking at creating more angel investors, women angel investors, was I looked at a lot of these startups when they came to the event was mostly male startups. So founders were male startups, and it was interesting. And majority of the investors were also typically male investors. So it got me thinking. There's a lot of female founders who are leading in very various fields, and where are they? So I guess this is where really transpired my initiative, where to create more women angel investors, at the same time looking at how to create a more engaging platform for women investors, and also for the women founders. So I started working on this, and this is one of the initiatives that we are currently working on is again, one part is education. Education is basically looking at how can we, create more angel investors, really looking at the how and the what and the when, how really engaging with the women investors. And it also means that women are doing pretty well in their own, industries or in their own ways. But a lot of them, I think, lack the awareness of how to do this. And also probably also looking at the platform that is available for them to do the investments. So our initiative is literally focusing on educating them, providing them with the tools, and also kind of creating that platform for them to come together. And this also happens where, in Asia, if you look at Asia, there are a lot of the projects looking at social impact projects. And what we also want to do is to, bring this community together where they can actually self-fund it, rather than looking at, whether external angel investors or even VCs or even investors, institutions, but really looking at self-funding it. And that is a way for them to start and look at entrepreneurship or even the funding mechanism differently and fund each other's projects. So this is one of the things that we are also looking at, an initiative around this. And, one of the things is also, I think women naturally has a lot of, I would say, sensitiveness towards social impact projects. And I think, projects like this will do very well. The second part is also, we've been seeing a lot of, lately or even for the past decade, women are taking a lot of lead in the corporate world. You see a lot more women taking up positions, but still there's a huge lack of women investors showing up. And I'll give you an example of this. I was at a conference yesterday, and this conference is about rethinking entrepreneurship. And this was focused very much for women. And they had a panel discussion. And that panel discussion was all about investment and an investment into the women-led businesses. And the sad part of it is the entire panel was all men talking about women-led businesses and women founders. So that kind of, so these are the things that we want to change through our initiative. There should be more visibility for women to come up and, really create more awareness among women to create wealth, at the same time looking at investment into different portfolios. So this is the initiative that we are looking at right now. And, this is not only for Malaysia, but also across, ASEAN countries, and bridging this gap that we have. So I'm very much deeply involved in this building this ecosystem. and also creating that support for women entrepreneurs and investors alike. Through training, through partnerships, through through investment banks, who are tailored for women, initiative, and so yeah, we are very much vested into this movement, and of course, with working with being part of WBAF also gives us that network and the leverage for us, for me particularly, to learn and also to implement similar strategies to this part of the world as well. So yeah, I'm looking to working with all of you, with all these esteemed speakers, panelists, and Shelli. I'm kind of excited to drive this economic growth through the women angel investors.
Fantastic, Malika. Now, as you shared, you're really trying to, we heard Sharif, and he's covering 54 member countries for ISESCO, which includes Indonesia, he said, and Malaysia. But what are some of the countries you're working with, and what is some of the help that you'd like to see from other investors or partner incubators to provide training for women to come in and be entrepreneurs? So what are the countries and what are the training you're looking to partner with to create?
So the countries that are currently I'm working with is India. India is one of them. Malaysia, of course. We are also looking at Indonesia. Of course, Singapore is a very well-established financial hub. But we are looking into, one of the things that I was also talking to Arleti is they have a women angel network in Singapore, but we don't have that in Malaysia. So one of my aim is to how do we emulate a similar framework in Malaysia and supporting and then growing that into a regional setting. So that's something I'm looking at. And of course, my partner and I, we are already working with Hong Kong, Taiwan, and now we are slowly going into Korea. But majority of the work is in Malaysia and India for me, particularly. And of course, I think the kind of collaboration or strategic partnership that I'm seeking is more on the education part of it, particularly creating more awareness, because a lot of the mindset around investment is that you need to have millions to invest, but that is not so. So I think it's about kind of educating them what are the things that they need to look for when they are looking at investment, and also giving them that platform, a very I would say very simplistic platform for them to understand and go into an investment portfolio and creating that portfolio. And also at the same time, if you're a business owner, for example, I run an IT organization, I run at a technology company, but I'm also very much synergetically looking for companies that I could invest that could complement my services. So these kind of things are also kind of, a lot of times we look at it as, acquiring businesses, but it is also about complementing your businesses. So these are some of the initiative or partnership that I'm looking at to grow this network here.
I think that's fantastic, Malika. And I think one of the things that we really highlight is you talked about it. It's not like people need millions of dollars. We're looking at microfinancing. And there's a thing called smart finance that really entails four components. It is absolutely money. Women entrepreneurs need funding, and they get less funding than male entrepreneurs. But it's not only the funding, they need those mentors who can help mentor them through the process. They need training, whether that's, marketing strategies, digital strategies, and then they need that access to venture capitals and capitalists, and understanding the language of talking to an angel investor versus a bank versus you know, a, a venture capitalist. So I think what you've highlighted is some really important things, and the idea of taking a really world-class model of female investors in Singapore and now replicating it in Malaysia. So thank you for the hard work you're doing. Now, if people
I
want to
would
read,
like to add
oh, go ahead.
something. One thing that you mentioned, Shelli, is that, a lot of women that I speak to, they keep doing their work. They're very good at doing what they are doing. But a lot of times, the branding part, the visibility part, and this is something that we really fall behind, because when you're visible, when you're branding yourself, you are creating network for yourself. And the network is also bringing in the right sort of connection, the right sort of investors, the right sort of the businesses that you can actually procure through that. And this is through my own experience as well, because I think the whole part of me, when I created more branding around who I am, I see that a lot of things has changed. I've gotten some investors, potential investors for my own businesses, and I'm also seeing a lot of changes in terms of the customer acquisitions that is happening within my organization as well. So I think this is another key component that a lot of women don't address it, and I think this is very, very key to growing your business and scaling it.
I think that's excellent, and we'll have a future webinar, but it's really important that if you have a great idea and you're an entrepreneur and you want to develop it, that's one skill set. But then as you become a CEO and you're out trying to raise funding, your role has to change out of the day-to-day and be more strategic and forward focusing so that people can see the branding and importance of what you're doing. So I think you've highlighted some really key areas, Maliga. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank
And
you,
stay
Shelly.
tuned for
Thank
some
you.
more questions.
Thank you.
Well, our third panelist today is Marcelo Lebendiker, who will discuss the significance of cross-border services and global acceleration programs for scaling startups internationally. So, Marcelo, the floor is yours. And you're on mute.
Right. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, the panelists. My name is Marcelo Levendiker. I'm based in Costa Rica, Central America, a very little, tiny country, but a lot of preservation and sustainability concepts here. I am managing an accelerator in Costa Rica and in Mexico that provides internationalization and soft landing programs towards all the globe. The problems that we face today, where it's economic disparity or climate change or access to education, are global in nature. They are not local. Startups are born with a global mindset. So solving those problems requires more than just local or national efforts. It demands a collaborative cross-border approach. Global acceleration programs, which brings together startups, investors, and mentors from different countries, are essential in making bridging gaps and creating networks that transcend borders. Why cross-border collaboration and internationalization matters? First of all, we know that diverse teams create more innovative solutions. And cultural sensitivity ensures that products and services resonate with local markets. But there is a critical aspect we cannot overlook: the gender gap. The gender gap. Despite the advances in the startup ecosystems, women are still underrepresented, especially in global acceleration programs. Data shows, and we all know, that women-funded startups receive only a small fraction of venture capital funding globally. So cross-border initiatives should make those issues as a priority to address this disparity. Indeed, cross-border collaboration and global acceleration programs can foster worldwide opportunities, but again, more importantly, and I want to highlight that, we can make these efforts more inclusive, especially with a strong focus on gender equity. Global challenges need, of course, inclusive solutions. We are are all aware that broader diversity enhances innovations, resilience, and impact. Why? But why gender inclusion matters? Um, First of all, better decision makings. Studies we know shows that companies with diverse leadership teams perform better financially, and women bring unique perspectives and problem-solving approaches, making businesses more resilient and adaptable. The other interesting thing in inclusion of gender is unlocking untapped potentials. Because half of the world's population is female. So, but their participation in global innovation systems remains limited. So by ensuring gender inclusion in cross-border collaborations, we tap into a massive pool of talent and potential. And investors also and stakeholders are increasingly seeking projects that emphasize diversity and inclusion. Acceleration programs that focus on creating equal opportunities for women are likely to attract more attention and more funding. So inclusion isn't just about fairness. It's about driving better outcomes. Companies with diverse teams outperforms those that don't. So what's next? Based on the huge network of resources and business opportunities that WBAF has as a multilateral organization, and it's my suggestion, let's launch a global acceleration and soft landing inclusive program. So if you want to join us, please don't hesitate. We launch a drive document that you can include yourself as a partner. So please join us, and maybe we can do it better together.
Well, thank you so much, Marcelo. That is wonderful insight. And as you can see from all our panelists, we are covering the globe. I mean, Marcelo, you're talking about Mexico and Costa Rica. We had Maliga talking about the ASEAN region. Now, Marcelo, you really talked about this global accelerator organization or partnership. Could you give us a few more insights on what you're thinking or how we could form that together to create more inclusivity and create more access and opportunity?
Yes, let's understand that the acceleration programs are launched because of the importance of minimize the risks and not to maximize the success. So when you enter a new country, you should be careful and cautious in terms of minimizing and mitigating a lot of risks. So a global approach with partners like accelerators, and incubators in each country locally can mitigate that risk. So we can together make some strategic alliances towards organizations and accelerators and incubators in each country that can, of course, facilitate the incorporation of those startups or companies into new markets, but also mitigating the risk and, of course, saving a lot of resources to those companies that want to enter new markets.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Marcelo. We'll have more questions, and I'm sure for our audience members, they can reach out to you if they want to ask more questions and insights on how to be part of that global group.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now I'd like to welcome Arleti Pinel. Arlette will address the need to encourage female angel investors and highlight the potential of multi-generational entrepreneurship. Arlette, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Shelli, and my fellow colleagues. I'm broadcasting here from Panama, just beside Costa Rica. It's about the same size countries, but very different environments. I'll start addressing aging. Every country in the world is aging. This is the direct result of our advances in health and primary health care. But Latin America is the region that is aging the fastest. Chile, for example, aged the same rate, aged in 10 years what it took Germany to age in 40 years. So we're at an accelerated pace, and yet we're still thinking we're a young region. We are not. Latin America and the Caribbean is no longer a young region. We have aged between 20 and 20 since the 1950s. Our life expectancy has grown 25 years. Our fertility rate has gone from 6.1 children to 2.2. And we have a female face. Aging has a female face. We live longer, we get sick more, and we carry the burden of care. So within that, what do we do? But still try to position Latin America. What other elements do we have? We have in the region, most businesses are family-owned businesses. And this is an important element because we plan for the future, for the long run. We plan for the children, the grandchildren. And when you start thinking about this new element of incubation and acceleration and startups that are short-lived, we're actually clashing two types of business cultures. We also depend on small and medium enterprises for our economy. Most of the entrepreneurs are SMEs. We have a very high unemployment rate for the young people, and we also have a lot of strains regarding pensions. We're insufficient pensions, and many people do not have pensions at all. We also have a very high success rate of women-owned businesses. This has been throughout, whether it was the micro banking and micro loans from the early 70s in the Andean region to this day, women-owned businesses are more successful in general. And yet, we still have a very large gender gap, like Marcelo was mentioning, and a very large digital gap that accentuates not only with gender, but also with age. And we have the domestic burden because women are the caregivers all through her life, from the young children to the aging. That also pushes the capacity of entrepreneurship of women. STEM. A lot of efforts have been happening lately in STEM and promoting STEM and women in tech, and we have succeeded in many women. And right now, you actually in some places have more women involved in technology careers at the university. But when they finish the university, the job inclusion in technology careers falls dramatically, sometimes to 17%. So education is not paired with financial and job creation. We also have a misunderstanding between entrepreneurship and self-employment. We think that entrepreneurship is every type of employment, self-employment possible, and that it's only for the young. So these misconceptions start interfering in lack of opportunities, both for the young and for the older population. And lastly, we're trapped in what I call the middle syndrome. We're in a region of middle and high middle income countries, and that means that we're not poor enough to receive foreign aid. We're not rich enough to have the structures in place, and many people are looking for the private sector financing for job creation, for wealth creation, and not for social protection. So we're in a very interesting historical moment where we can start thinking about innovation, but it's not only about technological innovation, it's primarily social innovation. Latin America has social innovation in their DNA. We had fantastic models of primary health care, fantastic models of literacy and education in the 60s and the 70s that have been implemented around the world. And we have lost that a bit because we have substituted innovation by technological innovation thinking. So this is moment, and my presentation is about rescuing this social innovation as part of the technological innovation and as part of uh, inclusive development. And to this, we're using silver economy. Silver economy is coined as a term of the products and services to provide the demands of people over 60, but we're using as a strategy for inclusive social and economic development. And I'm just going to show you a very a slide just to tell you a little bit about one of the ways that we're using that here in Panama. About 3 years ago, we wanted to establish a community-based health program. And then we realized that health was not a priority for older persons. We had the priorities were money, food, breaking loneliness, and then came health. So there was no way that using a digital health environment would be successful. So we took a silver economy lens, and this is what ends up creating eSilver. The first part, which was the digital literacy and the digital health, became crucial. Here we got young people from the technological university to get involved in digital literacy, and we found that it was more than just a means to an end. This is where young people also realized, and these were young people that come from impoverished backgrounds. It's a public university. And then they realized that here were older persons that welcomed them, that learned from them, that respected them. So their self-esteem all of a sudden started growing. And that led to a very interesting multi-generational environment. And this was all arranged as intergenerational micro-learning. The other elements of eSilver that respond to the silver economy lens was having a business and e-marketplace for products and services developed by people over 50, and an intergenerational business incubator. And the idea was to optimize the existing institution, optimize the existing incubators, accelerators, and also the business platforms. And at the end of the day, what we wanted to create were multi-generational communities that cared, because we believe that every community has resources. And we've been implementing this ecosystem, this community-based eSilver silver economy ecosystem. The Pan American Health Organization chose us as one of the 3 social innovation and health projects last year. We've started having arrangements with the private sector, with Rotary for the expansion in Central America, with Spanish companies that do renewable energy, to be using that as a community-based structure for the introduction of new and sustainable energy. And right now we're discussing this in the Amazon region in Peru. But what are the most important? So I'm a physician. I've worked all my life in global health. So one of the important elements is about optimizing the international networks. Latin America in the last 20 years, because of this high middle income situation, set the Atlantic divide, the Atlantic grew larger. Before, with the development money, we knew what was happening in Africa and Asia. Africa and Asia knew what was happening in Latin America, and this has disappeared. And what has happened is that many of the startups and many of the solutions here in Latin America, they don't have an internationalized mentality because they are not exposed to that. I was in Lisbon just a couple of weeks ago, and it's amazing how much Africa has been able to grow, because they're thinking Africa wide, and we're shrinking into our little micro system. So what would I recommend? So what are the recommendations that we have for our region? First of all, we need to innovate, but innovate in a way that we optimize what we have. And we start with social innovation. It's a part of our DNA. So we have to better integrate social innovation with technological innovation. We will never compete in technological innovation with the North because our countries do not put enough money into research and development. So we have to be smart in choosing the technologies that we're going to use to boost that social innovation. And right now we're working with a group of researchers at MIT and Harvard to be pinpointing those types of innovations that can be, like one of my colleagues says, differentiate the Neanderthals from the Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens had a smaller brain, yet they outdid the Neanderthals because they invented fire, and fire make a difference. So now with the exponential technologies, we have the possibility of identifying those fires that can really leapfrog.
We've lost our Letty's connection. What we'll do is we'll come back to her. She had some great ideas, and I look forward to following up on her thoughts on exponential technologies. What are those, and how do we work on those? I do want to highlight that one of our another president for our subcommittee for the Global Women Leaders Committee is Isabella Valerde, and Lucy Chow mentioned her. She was going to join us to speak about gender equality and technologies in the Latin American region and the role of incubators and accelerators in promoting them. However, she's not able to join us, but what we will do is she's going to provide us some inputs, and we will put that in the written article that will come out shortly. So with that, I want to now pivot over to uh, our anchor runner, our tail leader, who's going to wrap us in, and that's going to be Deborah Walliser, who's going to highlight the importance of recognizing outstanding female leaders and the impact of competition in driving female entrepreneurship. And Deborah, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Shelli, and thank you everybody for being with us today. I think it's an important topic, and before I jump into it, I'll just give you a little background on myself. I am an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur. I started my first company at 19. I am currently the CEO of Got Produce Global Brands. We are a global food sovereignty company, and what that term means is it's a step beyond just food security. So we have advanced hydroponic techniques to be able to grow food for any nation or any community anywhere in the world. And that's becoming a bigger and bigger issue now with climate change, with economic stressors, with logistic, challenges. More and more people are realizing, how dependent they are on their food system. They're questioning where and how they get their food, and then also the global impact of that food system from a carbon footprint and what we call finite resource management. The finite resources are the ones that we cannot replace. So when things go extinct, they're extinct. When we run out of water, we run out of water. So we want to manage our finite resources well, and we want to manage them in a way that empowers communities. So sometimes communities around the world, they buy things at the grocery store because that's the only thing available, no matter what condition it's in. We have a lot of farmers, the whole ag system around the world. Farmers grow certain crops because that is the only seed that they can get. But if you say to these communities, all right, the possibility exists for you to have anything that you want, all year round, what would it be? That really empowers communities to say, okay, look, I want to, eat healthier. I don't want to eat this thing laden with pesticides. I don't want to eat this genetically modified thing. I don't want to eat the same potato that we always grow in our country because that's all that exists. And once you start empowering countries to make their own decisions at the food level, we see a big economic and geopolitical trickle-down effect. So instead of sending money abroad to import food, that money is kept locally, the jobs are kept locally, the resources are kept locally. And suddenly, some of these impoverished communities and countries finally have, the food they need, the health they need, the nourishment they need, the resources they need, and the decision-making power. They have jobs, well-paid year-round jobs, which are different than what we normally see in the agriculture sector. So suddenly these communities can sit up at the table and say, look, we don't have to be dependent on imports. We don't have to be dependent on some of these other trade initiatives. So it's really, starting with food, which is kind of the basic building block for everybody in the world. This is how we enact change as GOT Produce. We've been doing this for 20 years. Countries across the world, throughout Africa, North and Central America, Eastern Europe, Australia, and many, many more places now that are being faced with climate change and other economic stressors are reaching out to us. So if you take that same kind of empowerment methodology that, okay, just start from the basic building block, and you can intertwine it into all these different things. We've enacted a couple of different products and resources to help accelerate that. One of them we have is what we call HABRA, which is the Hydroponics for Biosecurity and Resilient Agriculture, which is a solution, enterprise solution that a community or country can implement to be food secure. And it also has the advantage of having an innovation hub and a biosecurity hub with it. If there is a catastrophic disaster or a disruption in change, disruption in logistics that makes them change suppliers, they are not stuck. So they have their own seeds. They can still be self-sufficient. What we've also found is a lot of previously thought extinct varieties are now coming back into existence. So we have a lot of these pocket farmers who say, oh my gosh, this seed grew in my village, in my grandmother's day, and now it no longer grows, but I have a few seeds left in my pocket. Can we breed them out and kind of replenish some of these endangered stocks? So out of this system, we added the biosecurity hub, and then we had to add an innovation hub to keep breeding. And then because we started growing at the enterprise level, this is a big level. We also have one product called RAFAR, which is Rapid Hydroponics Food Aid Response, and it's meant for direct community impact projects. To get people ready for this, we had to now create a new system of thinking, a new system of getting a whole new workforce ready. We had to get this new mentality out, that we don't have to farm as we normally have. We don't have to rely on this heavy carbon footprint food system that we always have. Just because it was there, for the last 60 years doesn't mean that it needs to be there for the next 60. And in fact, I would say that just because it's been around for 60 years, it's probably well past its prime, and it's time for innovation. So we came out with this global workforce readiness and response program 2 years ago, which can be enacted in any community or country. And it really trains a whole new generation of workforce and thinking. How do we incorporate data analytics? How do we incorporate AI into drought prediction models? How do we incorporate that into, we're using AI now in module simulation. So we have our own data. We own our own food data, as we call it. So now we have, decades of food data points of growing hydroponics, and now we can do these actual simulations with AI. But it intrigues young people. It intrigues a whole other generation to start thinking different, to be prepared for the future. It integrates economics, statistics, analytics, hands-on technical. So the Global Workforce Readiness and Response Program and the Innovation Hub go hand in hand. And because we did that internally as a company, that kind of overflowing mindset came into WBAF and showcasing women leaders. And part of that was really important because, one, we wanted to, like Lucy said in the beginning, when women leaders are represented, when we have these supported entrepreneurs, it helps firms attract this top talent. These women are contributing to social impact. We can really start making a difference. We do it from the food side, but what we saw was that the skills learned in these training programs were, cross boundaries. So it doesn't matter that they were learning leadership and science and innovation skills about food. Once you learn those skills, you can take those into any kind of direction in life, no matter what your career path is. So we wanted to inspire people and inspire young women. We wanted to showcase women who have made a difference, who we can point at and say, okay, that's a successful, woman-led business or leader. And when the committee first started coming together, I thought it was a fantastic idea. And so there was a lot of meetings. And what came out of that was there's a dozen different definitions of leadership and success. So it's really hard to point at one person or one thing and say, that's what the world should aspire to. And so we had to kind of break it down, because leadership and success means something different to every single person. And it doesn't make sense to say, okay, your version of success doesn't fit the mold. You'll never get rewarded for it. Only this one definition exists. So we said, okay, how do we encourage and showcase this among these many different facets? And so we first began by defining, what does success mean? What are the actual attributes of a leader? It's easy to see a picture of somebody on, Time magazine or something like that, and like, okay, well, they're successful. But what attributes are we really pointing at as a society, and what do we really want to highlight? So kind of this simple committee activity really took on a deeper meaning, and I think it resonates, with all of us on this panel, and probably to a lot of our listeners. And so the first thing we did was define it, and then the second thing that we did was say, okay, here are different people within those different definitions. So here's a nominee, success story that meets these definitions of success. Here's another leader that meets these leadership qualities. So we kind of highlighted, this whole, group of different facets. And then I think that came up in one of our other panelists that were talking about, that we kind of need the different facets in there to make this cohesive learning model and cohesive decision making. But then what happened after that was quite interesting. So then people in our workforce readiness program and in some of these other programs said, okay, wow, we see these women that you have highlighted, we see these successful players in the industry, and we want to be that. So the goal of this was to inspire people, but then what we found is, okay, you've inspired them. This entrepreneur now says, oh my gosh, look at that. I want to be that. I want to be there. And they don't have a roadmap or a procedure for getting there. And so then we came back, full circle to, how do we prepare people to get there when they see those leadership skills or that definition of success? What steps do they take to get there? And I think that was, also mentioned earlier, Malika, I think you mentioned it, was that, when entrepreneurs start along their path, they need the coaching tips to actually get there. They need the leadership skills. They need all these other support structures. So then, we as a committee had the responsibility, okay, if we are going to highlight and showcase this, then we actually have to tell people how they can also get there, or else it's kind of like this false hope that we're presenting, and that's not what this committee is about. I mean, we're about empowering people, and grouping together to help them reach their goals, whatever they may be. And everybody has these different goals. So we incorporated this this round on the committee. We started kind of putting together a framework of saying, okay, this is what we look at in helping people get there. This is what questions they can ask themselves internally to see, okay, do I have the skills already? It's kind of a self-assessment, a skills assessment. Where am I going, and where am I right now? And then how do I map a path forward to actually be there? And so as a practice round, we had 3 local female entrepreneurs go through the program just to test that skeleton. We had 2 international women entrepreneurs kind of test that framework, just starting with the self-assessment. And what we would like to do now is, kind of make that a little bit more public on 2 fronts. One, that if you do see somebody that needs, that deserves recognition, it will make a public link available. Right now it's just internal, so when the public link becomes available, I think, Shelli, maybe it can be posted in the comments so others have access to it. But then you will be able to nominate somebody who you think fits your definition of success and leadership and would like to nominate them for that. The other part of that is and this is the new part, is we're making that link public. If you now see somebody that inspires you, or you just want to be better in your journey to your end destination, whatever goals that is, and you would like to, take part in kind of this self-assessment and framework for getting there, has mentorship components, it has these other components to it. We want to make that link available so that you can register for that, and then, get that disseminated out. So now it's kind of a 2-prong approach, but I think both of them are equally important. I think that we can't, highlight success and then tell other people, well, you can't get there. We're not going to tell you how to get there. I think like we have to do both. So those will be 2 separate links for this. And then just kind of using the internal resources within this committee. There's another mentorship, really nice mentorship program within WBF. So we've joined forces also, to help take on past what we do into what they do. So it's a nice alliance. So those are 2 links. And then, separately and apart, if there is a community out there who would like to look at this global workforce readiness, resilience and response program for a wider rollout, then they can contact our website, gotproduceglobal.com, or we can also make emails maybe available in the comments. So I will pause there and turn it back over to you, Shelli. Thank you for the opportunity to be with these other great panelists. And if there were questions, happy to take them.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Deborah. I do have a question, and I'll invite Sharif to join. You are our last speaker. You talked about food security, and that's a big area that the space industry is working on. There are some programs like NASA Harvest that provide space technology innovation to help farmers around the planet, especially in Africa or South America. And there's also patents that NASA has to help with food security. So, space is already helping that with Earth observation, being able to track water, climate climate change, droughts, and precision agriculture. But I know, Sharif, you have done some food security programs as well. And if you have a moment, I don't want to call you out unprepared, but I know you've done a couple programs on food security. Do you want to just jump in and join the chat with Deborah for a moment on that?
No, thank you very much. Yes, it's indeed we have done some work on the food security, and then at one or two the occasions I talked with Miss Deborah also. Then she's doing the great work. She is doing better than anybody, I would say. So, but however, we tried to do the food security challenges and opportunities in Sahel region. The Sahel is actually it is a 13 countries in Africa who have the most the arid the land. It's like Nigeria, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Benin. We started it from the Niger. It is actually the training program and also the food security with the entrepreneurship we have introduced it, and then we are trying to help the women, particularly the women, to have these small patches of the land and to produce their own vegetables, etc. This the program we have done it with the Sungai. Sungai is a very big institute and also organization in Benin, and they have 10,000 hectare. Now they are trying to convert it from arid to agriculture, and then we are sending the women and girls from our neighboring countries to get the training on this how to do the small farming. So this is one I would say the one initiative, and then we have another initiative, the plantation, the 500,000 the seedlings plantation. We started it from Senegal. We have done it in Gambia and also in some part of the Niger. This is the one program, and then there is a third program, which is science and environment. One of my colleague is taking care of this, the use of the smart technologies in the food security. So this is, I mean, more awareness. It is a little bit away from the really hands-on the activities. So this is what we are. I mean, and also the sharing the best practices from the different countries we are taking care of from the science and environment sector. With the FAO, we are also the working. We are in the consultation. I mean, somehow it is on halfway, I would say, to have the agreement on the honeybee production. So this is also the part of our food security initiative, because there in Africa, particularly in Morocco, there are the different kinds of this the honeybees. So we are putting some attention towards it. And also there is another organization. It is from the OIC. This is our sister organization. This is Islamic, the food and the security, the organization. With them, we are working in Kazakhstan on some initiatives. So this is the overview. You are asking me, and I have so many things to tell you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Sharif. And I think that was really helpful to complement how all of our panelists work together. Now, Deborah, I do want to come back to you because I think it was really important, the things you highlighted about how we need to inspire people, especially women. But then how do we give them a roadmap? How do we prepare them to get there? What does success look like? Just as your closing thoughts, what does success look like? What was some of the key themes of what success looks like as you did this study?
Yeah, it was a lot. You know, some people were very simple and high level. Some people were very specific, and so it was actually kind of fun and eye-opening. You know, just to hear those really personal kind of goals and definitions. You know, my definition is, you know, living your vision. So as long as you're living your vision, you're right on track, success. But you know, there might be specific goals along the way that you want to meet, you want to achieve certain things. But I think anybody who gets up every day and, you know, lives their purpose and vision, yeah, that is my definition. Others were very specific, that had a lot of attributes, and that is what success looks like to some people. But the basis of kind of the self-assessment and pathway to getting to your vision, no matter what it is, it always starts with, okay, where do I want to go and where am I now? And it seems like the easiest thing to start with, but that is the toughest part, that we have worked, with on these people. We found that some people just say, I want to be successful. And then if you ask them, what does that actually mean, and break it down, it's very difficult. And so just the exercise of saying, what does this mean to you? Does it mean X dollar amount? Does it mean being on Forbes? Does it mean having 1 million subscribers? And you just have to break it down. And then once people get thinking about it, it opens their eyes into, oh, maybe I'm closer than I thought. Maybe, I am on the right path. So what do you want to do and where are you now is always where we start, and then we can map it out. But it is a thought journey, first and foremost.
Excellent. I think that's some great insight. And I saw that in the movie from Jose Hernandez, an astronaut here in the US who applied 12 times to be an astronaut. When he told his dad he wanted to be an astronaut, that was his dad's advice. Where do you want to go and where are you now and what do you got to do to get there? So I think that's, from a father to your panel, those are words of wisdom. So thank you, Deborah, for sharing that great insight. Well, we will provide more detail on the questions that have continued to come in from our panelists, and we'll put that in the article. What I'd like to do is afford all our panelists an opportunity to do a 2-minute closing statement. So I'd like to start with Dr. Sharif. Over to you for your 2-minute closing statement. You're on mute, Sharif.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ms. Shelli Brunswick, for this the excellent the webinar. I would recommend and I would suggest that we should have this kind of the webinars regularly. I mean, if we can do that, we should have once a month. And what I can offer or what I can say that we can in the next webinar, if the Shelli is gonna the plan on the entrepreneurship and then startups or the fundraising stage, so we can advertise it or share with all member countries, 54 member countries, and then even at the headquarter, we have a very big the hall. We can gather some participants in person. So this is my advice and my suggestion and request and my humble request, I would say. And then we can have the different the different discussion topics and towards the awareness. And I think this I have already showed my interest and request to the Shelli Brunswick. So we have, I mean, excellent the speakers always lined up with us. So this way we have the also the outreach and the networking for this our WBF, the Global Women's Leader Committee, as well as for the investors. Sometimes we can have the investors the webinar and investors forum on the awareness fundraising, and then where I would like to bring all the national leads from the different countries. We have so far like 28 the national leads, so they can also share their success stories. Lastly, regarding this the webinar, I would say that this is a very good opportunity for the attendees and also for me particularly as a speaker to share what we are doing, so that the people can know also that what our partners, what our colleagues are doing around. And then and then we will definitely take this this is success story to the World Business Angel Investment Forum's next conference. So as I mentioned in one of the earlier the webinars, that we are very much open for any kind of the collaboration. We don't ask the money, and then we don't have also that much money to give, but we contribute to our best and our network. Thank you very much for all the speakers. I just missed one because I was called for a very quick meeting. But I'm really impressed what all our colleagues and then the panelists they are doing in their domains, particularly Ms. Deborah. I mean, this is a great work. And Shelli, thank you very much, Miss Pinel, Ms. Suba, Mr. Levenheik, and Ms. Amagan. Thank you very much for listening and for having me. And then apologize. I say sorry if I mispronounce someone's name. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much, Sharif, and we appreciate it. And I think it's done. We will do another webinar, so I will circle up and we'll alternate who it is. So thank you, Sharif. That's a wonderful suggestion. And I agree that we need to continue dialogue sharing and sharing this information with other investors and entrepreneurs around the world. Next, I'd like to offer Malika an opportunity for a 2-minute closing statement.
Thank you so much, Shelli. I've learned a lot from all the panelists here, and I'm sure all the audiences would have learned a lot as well. And I think this is a great platform for us to share, at the same time to bring like-minded individuals. And here we are looking at a global community of thought leaders sitting here in this panel. And I think it's a great opportunity for all the countries, participating in this, and also the listeners. I think there's a lot of things that we can do together. So my thought process around this is, we don't need to work in individuals. We don't need to work in silos. I think there are a lot of work has already been done. And I think it's about, creating that partnership or the collaboration and really emulating that in each individual countries that we are working on. And then, in expanding it, because I strongly feel this way we can create a bigger impact. And also, for me, it's like creating that movement of women-led angel network all around the world, because I think if we can support each other, like Marcelo said, half of the population in the world are women. And can you imagine what can happen if we come together and create that movement? We don't need to speak about this anymore, but I think it can happen in action. So that would be my closing for creating this Women Angel Network. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share the platform with you guys. Thank you so much for everyone.
Thank you, Malika, for all you're doing. Next, I'd like to offer the 2-minute closing to Marcelo.
Thank you, Shelly. I remember when we just started with the committee, and you shared with me your thoughts, and you asked me, what do you think we should do and we should emphasize? And I mentioned, listen, we have a great opportunity to launch the first and the most important global acceleration program between all the members of the organization. We have some resources, we have funding, we have investors, startups, so we should do it. So I think the most genuine way that in a globalized world, startups and SMEs can grow and scaling up is by globalization, internationalization, and cross-border networking. And I think we have a very huge opportunity. And we should invite everybody to join us. And I will be delightful to also help and adding value, because our experience in our organizations are minded towards acceleration programs. We have right now finished 15 companies from Colombia entering Mexico. We have companies from Europe entering Colombia. So there is a huge movement, and I think it's time that our organization as AWBAF should sponsor and should enhance and foster that kind of initiatives. Of course, me, by myself, I am leading also a venture capital fund, and we can also provide investment to internationalize companies and to facilitate that kind of exchange and network. So everybody is welcome. You can contact me, but I am sure that Shelli will lead us to a safe place in this regard. So I am pleased to be part of this, and it's a privilege for me to be part, an honor to be part of this community. So just let's do it and execute what we know to enhance that entrepreneurial mindset globally.
Excellent. Thank you, Marcelo. And I agree. We have a collective knowledge, and as we bring in more global incubator, accelerator leaders, and venture capitalists, they'll want to join our work. So thank you. I do know, Arlette, you were able to come back in. The real world has real challenges, including power challenges. I know you had to drop off for a short time, but if you would like to provide your 2-minute closing, we'd be honored to hear it.
Sure, thank you. Yes, power outages. A couple of things. One, pay attention to Latin America. And the reason I'm saying this is because the world, all the efforts in development create national economies thinking that they're going to go from low to middle to high middle income economies. Latin America is an example of how, when you do this and you get to middle and high middle income status, what things you have to pay attention. I always say this to Africa. You're already behaving as a middle and high middle income continent, even in countries that are low income. Learn from the mistakes we have done in Latin America. We have to prepare ourselves. And one of the ways of preparing is to use what we have. And what we have is our DNA of social innovation and the possibilities of getting exponential technologies to mix with the social innovation, being able to be that fire that propelled the Homo sapiens from the Neanderthals. Another thing, the world is multi-generational. We're aging. So we have to learn how to use the silver economy lens to revitalize national, local, and global economies, because and that requires also looking at different models of entrepreneurship and innovative models of financing. We cannot continue with the dichotomy of development aid and loans and venture capital. We need new models of creation of innovative financing. And by looking at these multi-generational and cross-border and global dynamics, we can come up with a couple that really have an impact on people's lives. And yes, thank you very much. I think WPFA is a fantastic network to be able to put this into work. And I'm really looking forward to continue working with you all.
Thank you, Arlette. We're so excited to hear your thoughts on our next webinar. And to close out our panelist comments and insights, I'd like to close it with Deborah.
Thank you, Shelli. And again, thank you to everybody listening in the audience and to the panel members. I'm going to have a very short closing. I think the takeaway is, food is the basis, for all things. And one of those things is empowerment. And we can really kind of straddle industries with those skills and develop new leaders through this. So keep dreaming, keep pushing the boundaries, and we look forward to helping a whole new batch of leaders come through. Thank you again, Shelli.
You're very welcome, and thank you for that. Well, as we come to the conclusion of today's discussion, I want to take a moment to summarize some of the key takeaways. We've seen how incubators and accelerators are essential for providing female entrepreneurs access to resources, mentorship, and funding, and how cross-border collaboration and network can enhance these opportunities. However, our work doesn't stop here. As you heard, we plan to do another webinar, and I want to encourage everyone listening to get involved and join us in continuing to foster innovation, inclusivity and growth. The WBF Global Women Leaders Committee is a platform where we can connect, collaborate, and support female entrepreneurs across the globe. We invite and encourage you to join our network, whether as an entrepreneur, an investor, an advocate, and help us create a more equitable entrepreneurial ecosystem. Thank you all for being part of today's session, and a special thank you to our panelists for their invaluable contributions. Together, we can drive change and empower female entrepreneurs to achieve their full potential. I'm Shelli Brunswick, and until next time, I look forward to seeing you around the galaxy.